Welcome to A Life in the Word. My name is Pastor Emmanuel Renee.
I'm Minister Cave.
And
Minister Keith Duggan.
praise the Lord. We've been talking about God will open the eyes of his prophets.
Amen.
Today we're going to talk about God is about to open the mouth of his prophets. Amen. Because we have to speak in the season. There's a lot of us talking previously who's afraid to speak.
Yes.
Who's afraid to declare the word of the Lord. And the reason we're afraid to declare the word of the Lord is because it's contrary to what everybody else is saying. It doesn't match. Or sometimes we don't want to seem like we off and we want to be part of the group and we want to be whatever. So it's best for us to stay silent.
Right.
But God now, or what would somebody think? Or what would somebody say? But God at this point wants to open the mouth of his prophet to declare the word of the Lord. Because what we need is God's voice to guide us and to direct us, to let us know what is going on in the season.
Yes.
And what it is that we need to know what to do and which direction we need to make and what way to flow, not only in in the church, but also in life, in our marriage, in our children, in our home, in our finances. We got to hear the word of the Lord concerning our health, our peace, and what God wants us to do.
Yes, sir.
Because there's many weapons the enemy try to do to kill and steal and to destroy us. And our health is one of it. Our mindset is one of it. But we got now allowed the prophetic word to speak so that God now can declare his revelation to the church and also the nations of the world. Now, when God began to reveal unto his prophets, now it is the nation, the will of God is going to come to the church, to the nation. That is what's going to bring the church back into its rightful place, where the people who are in power will now seek the church for information. Because I said it almost 3 weeks ago that God is shutting the spiritual realm to the familiar ones, to the wizards, and to all this. They can't see no more.
That's right.
So the nations can no longer depend on those wizards to tell them what's going on in the realm of the spirit, or who act like they're spiritual but they're really not. But because whatever you're trying to prophesy and you have not submitted to the lordship of Jesus, you're a wizard and you're a witch. Because guess what? You're trying to move in the different things in a different realm. But you can only speak what the king is saying when you submit it to the king. You can't speak about me and submit it to me. You can declare what I'm saying and what I'm doing when you're not submitted to me.
Right.
But guess what? Only those who are submitted to God will be able to speak in the season and declare what the voice of the Lord and direction of the Lord. So that is why now in the season, the world is going to come back to the church to find the information or to find the mind of God. When we look at the Bible, even in the days of Elisha, the king will come to Elisha or Elijah and say what? What is the mind of God? Even in 2 Kings, the reason he was not beaten because Elisha was telling him what was going to happen on a national level. And this is what God is about to do to the church and restore that prophetic anointing and restore his voice unto his prophets so that we can declare the will and the purpose of God. Now, 2 Kings 18, as 6 verse 18, as the Aramean army advanced towards him, Elisha prayed, "O Lord, please make them blind." So the Lord struck them with blindness as Elisha had asked. Now we find out, now God, every prayer the prophet declared, God did. Now, there are certain prayer the prophet could not speak. Because the minute he says something, it's going to come to pass. There are some people who got away because the prophet won't speak. So now the prophet is going to declare something which other people look mean, but you're going to come as an enemy. But see, the Bible said the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty to the pulling down a stronghold. Yes. The weapon of the prophet is his mouth. but he could never use his mouth in the wrong way.
Right.
But now, since you trying to come at me, I have to use my mouth in a way so I can get you online. So now you see here, then the prophet began to pray that God, please make them blind. So the Lord struck them with blindness, as Elisha what? Had asked. There's some things that if the prophet don't decree, God won't do. So God shut the mouth of the prophet. There's some spirit that have moved upon the realm of the church and the realm of the world, but now because the mouth of the prophets have been stopped, it continues on. It keep on moving. But now it's time for the prophet to say that spirit can no longer be in the churches. That demonic force can no longer be in the press. Then that's when God now is going to move, because the prophet has spoken and released it to stop what it is doing. So this is why the enemy have shut their mouth. This is why the enemy don't want the prophet to speak and declare. Because guess what? When he come, he is the instrument of God for judgment. Because when he declared a stoppage, it's going to stop.
That's right.
God will stop it. When he declared no more, God comes in the scene. And guess what happened? And God began to stop it. When Elisha prayed, please make them blind, God came in and did what? Exactly as Elisha did. And guess what happened? A whole bunch of soldiers became blind that day. Where they couldn't even know where Elisha was anymore. They couldn't even see where Elisha was. Why do you think them soldiers were sitting around there? Guess who caused them to be blind? Guess who caused the optical nerve to shut down? The angels that was around. That was up in the mountain. Just touch them. If Elijah said, Lord, kill them, they all would have been dead. He said, cause them to be blind. Now, the blindness that was in the prophets now is going to go into the world. They're not going to see. But now look at this. Then Elisha went out and told them, you have come the wrong way. This isn't the right city. Follow me and I will take you to the man you are looking for. Right? And he led them to the city of Samaria. Now, there's an old saying with the blind leading the blind. But look at Elisha here. He told them point blank, you're in the wrong city. The prophet now is going to lead the blind out of their blindness. He's going to lead the blind. The prophetic word leads the blind out of the blindness. But look at it, that even in the blindness, the prophetic word will get you to the right place where you need to be. Now look at this. And as soon as they entered Samaria, Elisha prayed, oh Lord, now open their eyes and let them see. So the Lord opened their eyes and they discovered that they were in the middle of what? Samaria. And guess where Samaria was? The place where the king of Israel was. And guess who won the victory without an army? The prophets.
Wow.
And guess who caused, you see, the Bible said that Israel won the war because of a prophet. When you take out the prophetic, you cannot get the victory.
Come on.
The prophet causes victory to happen. Let you say something.
I was looking at it, I'm like, he prayed for Gehazi's eyes to be open, right? He shifted his sight. But then he prayed for the enemy, the reverse. So now, again, like you were saying, what's happening, where they're going to have to come to the church now because everything has gotten shut down.
God is reversing
it. It got reversed. So it's like he delivered the Spirit of the Lord. He was able to deliver them right into their hand. He delivered the victory right into their hand. They didn't have to do a thing.
Well, there's a blindness that's going to go into the world that's going to cause them to come to the people of God.
The same thing we rejected.
Yeah, they won't be able to see anymore. So now they're going to want to come back into the church to ask for guidance. to ask for direction. That's why Elisha, the prophet, was able to lead them right into the Samaria. You understand? So now, whatever plan they were planning to do, God just messed it up because it went blindness. And blindness is a form of confusion. That's what the Bible said that, well, there's a song that said, God will confuse the enemy. God will send a spirit of confusion among the enemy, wherever they thought that they were going to do, God's going to reverse it. Because there's something, when the prophets begin to speak, he begins to reveal the plan, the will, the purpose, and he causes victory to happen for God's people. Yes,
And why you think what's going on with Trump? Why do you think God revealing things to the prophet? Because God is setting order. This world been messed up so long. Everything been hidden, secrets, all types of different things been hidden, so many secrets. Now God is raising, God can find the foolish thing, can find the wise. Looking like Trump is so messed up, but God is working through him. God is shifting something. That's why he's been revealing things to you as a prophet, revealing things, what's going on. Because he's going to bring the people back to God. Because they're looking at to the point, they're looking at Trump so bad, he's so messed up, he's so this, he's so that. But God is going to bring the people back to the church to wake up and understand that this is God's movement through his prophet. That's why he's speaking, he's connecting the prophets on what's going on with the Trump. To get everything back, see, because God, he's a God of order and decency. So what he's about to do is put back order, but he's moving through his prophet, so his prophet can get on point. And they got to come together with unity and understand what God is doing.
Well, I do believe that in this season, God is going to begin to guide, the people of God through the prophetic word to show them what they need to do, to show them how to get the victory. God is about to give them a strategy to overcome. But this is why the word of the Lord keeps saying last night, you hear, but you're not listening. You're hearing, but you're not listening. You're not listening to my prophet. You're not paying attention to what he's saying to you. Because I sent you victory, but I sent it in the form of a word. But you won't do it. I sent your blessing. I sent you the way how to get blessed, but you don't see it yet. You understand that? So God is speaking. God is directing. That's why I said those who have ears, let them hear. That's what the same word kept going last night. I sent my prophet. Listen to him. Follow him. Go in that direction when he's trying to tell you. I'm speaking to him. Listen. Listen. That's where your victory is. Whatever I have for you is in there. Just listen. Your money is in there. Your healing is in there. Your peace is in there. Your joy is in there. But if you would only listen. God put the prophet there so you won't waste no more time. You wasted enough time. That's why you wasted enough time trying to do things your way. But the funny thing about it, most of us don't want to know God's will concerning something. We just know how we feel about it. We just know what we want about it. This is a season. If God said that's not for you, then it's not for me. That's not what I want, then that's not what's for God's good for you. You have to agree with God. Because it looks a certain way. If he says no good, it could look like, best as roses, and God is not in it. But to you, it look right. But the mess up stuff, you say, everybody says that's not God. But God can be in the mess up stuff. It make no sense. It make no sense. But God can be in the mess up stuff and say, well, look at the situation with Mary and Joseph. It was messed up. But guess who was in it? God was in the midst of it all. But there's some stuff that can look so right. Every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And guess all of a sudden, right? You saying this is right, I'm going to go and do it. But guess what happened? That's what the enemy trying to do to fool you. Because why? It's too easy. And when God begin to tell you don't go there, you say, well, I know better than God. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to go where I want to go. I'm going to live where I want to live. And what happened is now, it may take you now another 10 years of your life to get back to the right place again. But if you would have waited on God, really waited, trust God, believe God, and know that God's going to make it. When you trust God completely, you bypass the pain and the hurt to learn a lesson. Because now God is speaking to you saying, you know what, leave that alone. That's not me. I'm not even in there. It's not going to turn out good. So you're going to ignore a voice of God that sees through eternity, that knows all things from the Alpha and Omega, and thinking you know better than him. But the thing is that we hear the word of God through the men of God, or the prophets of God, but the truth is you don't believe it's God speaking through him. Because what you want, the voice of what you want, is greater than what God is saying. But God is going to open the mouth of his prophets, and God, regardless of what, whether they hear or forbid, that's what he told Ezekiel. Whether they hear or forbid, they're going to know there's been a prophet in Israel.
Yeah.
Whether they hear. See, the issue is that if they hear, is good. No. The Lord said, whether they hear or they don't hear, they're going to know there's been a prophet in Israel. Because why? Because God is about to open the mouth of his servants, the prophets, who going to say only what God wants to say, and that only. Not for applaudissement, not for fame, not for glory. People will like you or invite you to their churches or do anything.
That's right.
Because the truth is, when the prophet rises in the place, it realigns everything. It messes up everything. Every demonic force, every self-agenda is broken because he put the will of God in alignment back in the church. Amen?
Amen.
Well, my name is Pastor Emmanuel Renee.
Minister Cave.
Minister, keep dogging.
We have one thing to say.
Jesus
Jesus is
is
Lord.
Lord.
God bless you.